DOC, drug of choice. What is your DOC, drug of choice? Like, what do you like to use? Like fentanyl, some people are just strict alcoholics. Some people are just weed smokers, marijuana smokers. And then every so often you'll get a certain drug that somebody uses that not everybody is typically using. Hello, my name is Pej. I'm an interventionist. I help people with drug addiction, with alcoholism, and with mental health try to get the help that they need. I also try to guide people in the direction of getting into recovery, as well as coach. I do a lot of coaching too. I'm with Pej Interventions. That's the channel that you're watching right now. I want to talk today about drugs that are specific to those that use them. And the reason that I was compelled to actually want to talk about this today is because I have been experiencing many different types of people that are using certain specific drugs, and that becomes their drug of choice. Often in the recovery world, we will say things like DOC, drug of choice. What is your DOC, drug of choice? Like, what do you like to use? Or what have you been addicted to? Some people like fentanyl, some people are just strict alcoholics, some people are just weed smokers, marijuana smokers. And then every so often you'll get a certain drug that somebody uses that not everybody is typically using. For example, nitrous oxide. More recently, I have been seeing people that come into my care or that I'm working on to try to get the help that they need. And I will talk to the family and they'll say, this person is constantly doing whippets, they're constantly doing N-dust, they are constantly doing nitrous oxide tank, they're just doing it morning, noon, and night. What is it about that particular drug that somebody would do? I do believe it's very psychological. I think it's a cheap thrill. I think it's really quick and fast just to get a quick head change. Often people, when they do go into that type of high, they go into another dimension, in another world of their mind, another realm, if you will. And I say this from experience because I myself, when I was much younger, would huff gas, which very much kind of took me into that same realm of my mind. But later on, I got into nitrous oxide throughout my young adulthood. There was a certain party scene, a party club scene where people were doing it alongside other drugs. But what I'm seeing these days is there's actually people that will only do that. They may have some past drug use history, but right now they're just specific to that certain type of drug. I've also seen ketamine addicts, people that are addicted to just ketamine. They won't do any other drugs. They're not interested in drinking. They're not interested in stimulants. They're not interested in opiates. They are specific to ketamine. The ketamine gives them a certain type of feel. It's what they like more than anything. And I'm not talking about for depression. I'm not talking about ketamine that's under the direction of a doctor. I'm talking about straight up doing ketamine because that's just what they like to do morning, noon, and night. They're very addicted to it. I have more recently worked with somebody who over the years has been a continual ketamine user, and then they will actually stop for a while. They know they don't like it. They don't want to do it anymore. They say they don't like it. They don't want to do it anymore. They'll stop for a while. They'll get sober for a while. They've put together some sober time. Sometimes it's a year. Sometimes it's been a few years. But for some reason, psychologically, when they do relapse, they end up going right back to that specific drug, which is ketamine. So what is it about certain substances that make people more turned on to them as opposed to what everybody else might be doing or what a large amount of people might be doing? As we know, like right now, there's a major fentanyl craze. I believe that anybody that's specifically using fentanyl at the point of the reason why they're using that powerful of an opiate is because they may have a history with other opiates. They may have tried other opiates in the past. They may have had a prescription, which then later they ended up abusing their prescription. They may have used black tar heroin, and then now they've just moved into the realm of the fentanyl world. And they'll use that basically because it's so powerful, it's so potent, they become highly addicted to it, they become dependent upon it, and that just becomes their drug of choice. And that's all they'll do. You don't often see people that are hardcore fentanyl addicts get super excited to do cocaine or to do meth, although there are people that are polysubstance abusers that will mix them. There are some people that will do meth alongside fentanyl. but usually the majority of the people that I see that are fentanyl users only use fentanyl. There are people that will use meth also if they can't get fentanyl. Often people will switch from one to the other if they can't happen to obtain it at a certain time. They'll do something else to hold them over, but usually they're captivated by one specific drug, and that fentanyl addict usually will always go and seek out fentanyl. Meth users, what is the fascination of a meth user? Why does somebody want to do meth more than any other drug? Is it just something that they took on from the very start? I don't think so. I think often people will experiment with drugs from a very young age. Some of them will do hallucinogens, some of them will do marijuana, some of them will drink alcohol, but later on they will meet people that are trying other stuff that that's more potent, that is more powerful. And if somebody gets into using meth, sometimes meth becomes their everything. I mean, they fall in love with it. Nothing else matters as much. Meth gives them power. Meth makes them feel like a supernatural human being where they can do things in a highly productive fashion. At least in their mind, they think they could do things in a highly productive fashion. Nothing ever really actually gets done the way it should. And then there's cocaine users. Why are some people just specific to cocaine use? Like, what makes a person that does cocaine, if somebody offers them some meth, say, I will never touch that stuff, I stick to the coke. Coke, I mean, way back in the day, it was the rich man's drug, at least that's what they said. Often people would do coke because they were out on the night, out of the town, partying, drinking. Sometimes drinking and doing coke would go hand in hand. You can pretty much stay up much later hours. You can enjoy the effect that's produced by alcohol without getting smash drunk, because the cocaine, the stimulant within the cocaine, is actually like leveling you and making you seem like you're having a good time. And really, like a lot of people have a lot of good times on cocaine. The only thing is, sometimes people that get deep into cocaine addiction might take it to the next level. They might neglect their families, they might neglect their jobs, they might neglect their friends, they might ruin good opportunities, they might not be able to function in everyday life or in the workplace because they go on hard benders. They will use cocaine excessively. Cocaine becomes their everything. It becomes their master. And then afterwards, sometimes some people that do use cocaine will even take it to the next level, and they'll start to smoke crack, which is cocaine in a rock form, and that becomes a highly addictive drug. And then sometimes when a person becomes as we call them, a crackhead, crack user, that becomes their everything. They're absolutely captivated by it. You can offer them other types of drugs, and they don't want that. They want that quick, instantaneous high that's only temporary from the crack, and that's all they'll seek. That's all they will go after. Sometimes they'll sell everything that they have. They will get broke, and it sort of zombifies them. Sometimes to the point where if you see them, they look like a shell of a human being. And then there's alcohol. Alcohol is, to me, I believe it's the king of all drugs. I mean, really, an alcoholic that's in his cups will drink no matter what. They have no mercy. They don't care. They don't care about life. They don't care about what they do to their husbands, their wives, to their kids. Alcohol becomes their absolute master, and they'll go above and beyond to be able to get their drink. They'll hide their drink. They will hide it in their own homes. They will hide it so nobody can see. It becomes something that they need to function in everyday life. And then there's also, we want to think about benzodiazepines, things like Klonopin. There's some people that are prescribed this stuff, and when they use it, it becomes a necessity. Like they cannot go throughout their day without doing it. Xanax users too. People that depend on Xanax as a regular medication that they're using for their anxiety per se, they might use it, but then they might start to abuse it. And if they abuse it, then it becomes an actual straight up addiction, and they become a person that always needs to do Xanax. They can't live without it. When it comes to alcohol and to benzodiazepines, these are certain types of substances that if used in excess, a person is not properly detoxified. If they get to a point where they do want to get off of it and they're not properly detoxified and they try to do it within their own home, they could have a seizure, they could seize up, and this could be life-threatening and take their lives from them. So the reason I really wanted to talk about all of this stuff is it's interesting for me because of the type of work that I do and the world that I live in and all the different people that come in different avenues, we get to see who does what. Oh, okay, that guy, he just loves alcohol. Oh, her, she's a straight up Xanax user. Oh, him, that kid, we've known him for a while. He loves ketamine. That's all he ever uses. That's all he ever relapses on. That's all he ever ends up going back to treatment for. And then what about the nitrous oxide user? Like, why is that person basically retreating from everyday life so that they can just go to Target or go to certain stores and buy all the computer cleaner, the Indust, whatever it is, and just go and retreat into some private, isolated area so that they could just keep on hitting the nitrous and getting more of that in them for that cheap thrill that sometimes only lasts a few minutes. I've had conversations more recently with somebody who seemed to be doing well for a while. He was around us. He was staying sober. He was going above and beyond in his recovery process, so it appeared. But for some reason, something happened. He was triggered. I believe it was like by his ex-wife or something like that. And the next thing you know, he took off, he left, and he would call while hitting nitrous. Like, he would say, I want to get back in recovery. And he'd make these like noises, like talking a certain way. And I'm like, bro, are you like hitting this thing right now while you're on the phone with me, telling me you want to get back into recovery? And you would hear the guilt in his voice. He would say, I don't know why I'm doing this to myself. And his voice sounded like it was vibrating. And it was just a person that he could not stay away from that particular substance. He was specific to that substance. That's what he loves. That's what he loves to do. I asked him, did you do other stuff throughout your life? He said, I did a lot of substances. I did a lot of drugs. But for some reason, this is quick. It's easy. It's accessible. It's what I do. It takes me out of the game. I don't have to think about anything. The problem is right now he's accumulated a bunch of crimes as well as he's about to lose everything in his life. And because of this cheap thrill drug that's specific to his liking, he's losing a lot of things very fast. I hope that he comes back and we see him do better for himself. So at the end of the day, drugs are drugs. I believe even a marijuana smoker can definitely abuse marijuana if it becomes something that they're doing to where it consumes their life and they're not productive in their everyday life. Even the marijuana smoker, especially with what's out there these days, the types of marijuana that are there, it's much more powerful, much more potent. This can become a major problem, and it could lead into other things. But even a marijuana user, I often will see a lot of people are coming and asking for help, saying, how do I overcome weed? Like, I can't stop smoking. It just becomes a ritual for me. I withdraw if I don't have it. And some people think you can't withdraw from marijuana. You absolutely can. I think it's more of a mental thing as opposed to some of the other substances that people develop a physical dependency over. But if you need help and you really want to get help, or you know someone that needs to get help, you can always reach out to me. I'd love to be able to assist you, talk to you, see how we can get you to stop becoming a slave to substances. Stop letting substances have that much control over you. Often I had a counselor that used to tell us in rehab when I was new, he'd say, why would I want to give so much power to something that doesn't even have a voice, right? Like, it basically, it just tempts me, it teases me, I obsess over it, I want it, and I don't want something like that to rule my life. My name is Pej, Pej Interventions, 310-596-9356. Please do subscribe to this channel, and also send us your likes, but also share with everybody. Let people know that we're here to help. I'm here to help. I will make myself available to all in any capacity that I can. Signing out.